Hey, boys and girls, it's Uncle Doug coming to you again from one of the ministry houses here near Kansas City, Missouri, right dead center in the middle of this mess. Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about Trump Derangement Syndrome. If you don't know what that is, it's been a catchphrase used on Fox News and other places for this sort of mental condition that seems to have come over much of the Democratic Party that is absolutely obsessed with Donald Trump, can't stop talking about him, and will do anything to try to burn him at the stake, get him out of office, run him out of the country, anything they can do. And probably would justify about anything they could do. Well, on the other side, you could call it whatever you want, but there's also a Republican derangement syndrome that thinks he's the Messiah or the solution to everything and loves him and would vote him in for unlimited terms and doesn't want to admit that he has any moral failings or does any wrong. And seems to have made him the entire object of their affection, idolization, and worship. And both of them are delusions. And I think this is a particularly good object lesson example of the book I wrote called The Red Dragon, Why the Church Can't Seem to Change. The Red Dragon I originally saw on a ministry here in Kansas City on the roof, and it was like a Chinese parade dragon where there's not the little kind they carry around on a stick, but the great big ones where there's just guys' legs underneath, and this silky, sequined, great big thing is running back and forth across the street, making a lot of noise, looking real pretty, and basically getting nowhere. Chasing a pearl, there's always a guy out in front with a globe, usually painted like the world, on a stick, and this big dragon chasing it around trying to catch the pearl. And there's the head dragon dancers who have gone to school and learned how to be the best possible, most authentic, most original, most whatever head dragon dancer. And they work the eyes and the mouth and the things clicking and making noises. Some of them have lights on them. I've seen a video of one on YouTube where a truck is following behind the dragon with an extension cord running to the truck, powering the lights on this thing. Sometimes the guy in the back is carrying the car batteries to work all the lights, poor guy, or whatever. And on the outside, it looks real dramatic and sequiny and shiny and fancy. And the reality is that underneath, it's just a bunch of really sweaty guys in tank tops with this thing held together with duct tape and baling wire. And if you don't follow the leader exactly, and you zig when you should have zagged and tear the dragon in half, you're in big trouble. You're out of here. You're enemy number one now. And if your legs get tired, don't worry, we'll kick you out and find somebody else. And all of them think that they're under this canopy where they can't see out, and so they all think we're the best, we're the most original, we're the point of the spear, we're the best dragon team ever, and nobody's dancing like we dance, and everybody else is just, second best wannabes of our dragon. And that is a delusion. The Bible says that in the last days that people will be turned over to a strong delusion. Their hearts will grow cold. The love of many will grow cold. That they'll turn brother against brother and wax worse and worse. And that is exactly what we're seeing. And more proof to me that the Bible is real, that Jesus is real and knows what he's talking about. I don't use this as evidence that Jesus is real. I met Jesus in person, and he is exactly who he said he is. And you can read, if you want to go down to the description, I'll put a link to my video about that. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen some of this stuff, I don't speak as someone who was trained as a kid, and this is what I believe. I speak as someone who's an eyewitness, having met Jesus in person, believe it or not. Anyway, so, but I wrote a book. It's free on our website, fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. It's there under ebooks. called The Red Dragon, one of 8 books I've written about how the church ought to be different, why we need to say we're sorry for the mess we've made, why we need to start coming together and acting right and stuff like that. But The Red Dragon is all about this delusion. And on the church, unfortunately, it's a curse from God. It is the consequence of chasing other things, whether that was the new gymnasium or seeker-friendly or gold dust and feathers or rolling on the floor or barking like a dog or whatever it was we chased that wasn't holiness, brokenness, the cross of Christ, crucified daily, love for one another. And when they're under this delusion, because they put something else in a place where God belongs, the first commandment is have no idols before me. If Trump is an idol and he is on that first place altar, the Bible doesn't say don't have any idols. An idol is whatever you respect or look up to or worship or think is wonderful. God says have no idols before me. He should be the most cared about, loved, worshipped, idolized. Okay? You can love your wife, you can love your kids, you can love your car, you can love your job, you can love your career, but they ought to be in order behind God. Because it's God that says, love one another, be kind to your enemies, vengeance belongs to the Lord, I'll take care of this, whatever. And instead, people want to take it into their own hands. This impeachment thing is a good picture of that. But then so is the fleshy responses on the other side of it. I don't watch much TV. I catch the news off the internet when I can, and I'm glad this impeachment thing is over. It's just nothing but back and forth. One red dragon yelling at the other red dragon, back and forth, and it's all just ugly. It's all just ugly. And a lot, and I think all of them probably think they're being loving and godly and defending the country and doing what they believe is right, and are sure that the words that are coming out of their mouth are reasonable and justifiable on all sides. And they're all wrong. It's just the delusional. It's just people under the delusion doing the dance, chasing whatever their thing, either pro-impeachment or anti-impeachment, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, pro-socialism, anti-socialism, whatever it is. It's just the world doing the dance. Now, on the church, it's a curse from God. It's a religious spirit. It's anti-Christ. It is something that they have put in the place of God, and He has turned them over to a strong delusion that you can't rebuke it off, and you can't talk them out of it. Now, maybe on other people, it's just a religious spirit because they grew up Buddhist, they grew up Hindu, they did what they knew. They're not sure why they have to keep the prayer wheel spinning all the time, but it's real important, and this is what we learned, so this is what we're going to do. And you might be able to talk them out of it. One way to know how bad the delusion is how unwilling they are to even consider that they might be wrong. The more entrenched the opinion, the more unreasonable, the more they snarl up and bite you when you try to even have a calm, reasonable conversation with them, the more entrenched you know that delusion is, and that their love, their idolization of that thing on that altar is. I've been to churches. I believe in my ability to walk into most any church in town, in this town or any other town, and in 15 minutes tell you what the thing is that I have to say to the pastor to be banned for life from that building. And it's not like you got to stand on a pew and wave your hands and curse or anything. All you have to do is go, did God really tell you to build this new gymnasium instead of feeding the poor? You're out of here. Or are you really sure there's a pre-trib rapture and that you don't, or one, I was doing a survey of the churches in town, asking them How many buses do you have? How many trailers do you have? How many stuff do you have? And would you be willing to share any of it with any other congregation in town? And one of the questions was, if you believe in a pre-trib rapture, would you be willing to sign something so that those of us that are left behind that didn't figure out whatever you figured out and are stuck here could use your buses and your trailers and your buildings after you're gone? And it seemed a perfectly reasonable question to me, a little tongue-in-cheek, but oh man, it flipped some pastors out. I mean, they were like, that is completely inappropriate. I'm like, why? Why is it inappropriate? There's a company that sells time capsule kind of message things that you can write letters to all of your family that's not saved, so that when you're raptured, this company will deliver these to whoever's left that didn't get raptured, that you want these to go to. But the company is all owned by Jews who won't get raptured, so that they can be sure to deliver these messages. What a racket. I mean, and somehow that doesn't offend people, but me asking, hey, look, I don't believe in a pre-trib rapture, so if I'm still here, can I use your bulldozer and your houses and your whatever? Anyway, I've been banned for life from lots of churches, buildings, by guys with ties that were hired to tickle ears or whatever. And I know that all you got to do is find the pearl and then boink, and they will snarl up and bite you. Whatever that thing is they're chasing, that is their sacred cow, whatever you want to call it, the elephant in the room, the whatever, boink, and you're in big trouble. And a red MAGA hat is like that. You walk into a lot of places, you've just inflamed everybody. And you walk into other places, and you're their best buddy. They don't know you from nobody, but you got a MAGA hat, so you're all okay. I saw that this last week with the Chiefs. If you're my best friend, my cousin, my whatever, I don't care, whatever. They're in a parade, and they're all focusing on the same thing, and they're all, hey, we love you, whatever. I wouldn't trust my kids with you. You're a haughty millionaire who's probably going to crash and burn, but right this minute, you're the idol of all of our worship. Anyway, whatever you put on that pedestal where God belongs, you're probably going to get turned over to it. And you're probably going to be unreasonable, and you're probably going to be under a delusion. The example I give people that seems to resonate with the most possible people to help understand this is, imagine you're in 8th grade and you start dating this girl, and your parents don't like her. They think she's bad for you. Your friends don't like her. They start coming to you telling you bad things about her, and you start losing friends. You're like, forget it, I'm not talking to you. I'm in love. Love. And she can do no wrong. She's bossy. She's annoying. She's probably cheating on you. And you don't see none of it. Don't care because you're in love. And anybody that comes to you and says different, you will scream at your parents. You'll slam doors. You'll have a hissy fit. You'll tell them to whatever off until she breaks up with you. And scales fall off your eyes. And when you stop crying, you look back and go, she's horrible. What was I thinking? My parents were right. She was bad for me. My friends were right. And then you got to go eat crow and apologize to everybody if you're humble enough. Because they were right. You were out of control. You were delusional about this person and her being the end-all be-all of your existence and mattering more than your parents, your friends, your brothers and sisters, or anybody else that tried to counsel you otherwise. It could be drugs. It could be the Kansas City Chiefs. It could be something else. It could be whatever you're chasing that being the best Tetris player in the world, being the best whatever, it could be whatever. But if it's not God, you're in big trouble. Let me just tell you that. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody comes to the Father except through him, and he is the right answer. Now, if you don't want to buy that, you need to figure out what the thing is that is going to be your idol, that is going to be on the pedestal in your life. And anti-Trump is not a good one. That's not how you want to be defined. You should be for something. And for Trump isn't exactly the way you want to be defined either. Your life ought to be bigger than an attack or a defense of somebody else. You need to figure out who you are and what you're for. And what is the one thing. For me, it's Jesus Christ. There can't be any other thing. There is one truth in the universe, and everything else is some kind of partial half-truth. Some kind of mixture. But he is true and real and reliable. And I know that. Can't be talked out of it. Can't be tortured out of it. Will go to my grave believing it. I hope you can find the truth, capital T truth, that is Jesus Christ. And if not, you better figure out what it is you're for. But being anti-Democrat, anti-Trump, anti-this, anti-that is no kind of way to define yourself. Maybe there's seasons you go through that, but you got to keep your eyes on the one thing. All I see with this impeachment stuff is just red dragons dancing around other red dragons, barking at each other, making a lot of noise, and getting nowhere. I pray you're not just dancing that dance. I pray you're getting somewhere. Pray you're accomplishing something selfless, something that improves other people's lives, that's not just building you up, but is doing something to care for the needs around you, to care for your family, to care for others. And even those people doing the dance, they believe they're protecting the country on both sides. They're doing what the founding fathers wanted on both sides and can't be talked out of it. And for all of the noise, all of the airtime, all of the billions of dollars spent on both sides in airtime and lawyers and stress and aspirin and stomach Rolaids and whatever, the numbers didn't change. Whose mind was really changed by the whole thing? Anyway, I'd encourage you to go to the website or on YouTube under FOTM1. Go to our channel, do a search for the Red Dragon. There's other videos about the Red Dragon, and there's an audio book of the Red Dragon book you can listen to free. You go to the website, download a free PDF. You can buy the Kindle for, I think, $1.99 or something on Amazon. You can buy the paperback off Amazon for cheap there too. If you don't want to print it on your inkjet printer, pay twice as much as ordering a paperback. Anyway, but it's available lots of ways free on the website, and I think it's important for you to understand all the ways you can get distracted from doing what's really important in life. For me, what's really important is obeying Jesus. If that's not what's important for you, it should be. But even if you decide I'm wrong about that, man, figure out what the one thing is. And let it be something that means something. Something that touches other lives. Something that makes a difference. That's just not anti-something. Anyway, a lot of people go down in history as nothing but haters. And that's no kind of legacy. That's no kind of way to teach your kids. That's no kind of way to make things better. We should be washing feet. We should be caring for one another. Last 15 years, I've been running a homeless shelter and food pantry. Walking around with holes in my shoes, giving everything I have to care for other people. Trying to be different than the money-loving hypocrite I used to be. Anyway, something to think about. Maybe we'll talk about it more. I'm not big in politics anymore. Lord told me I was never to vote again back in 2004, and people ask me, who did I think would be better, Trump or Hillary? And I said, well, I don't really care, and I don't vote anymore. And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, I'm praying that whoever would bring back Jesus the fastest would get elected. And evidently that's Trump. And I don't think he's going to bring America into some golden age where God will have mercy on us. I think judgment is racking up minute by minute over all of this stuff. I think there are a lot of Christians with their eyes off of Jesus and on Trump. And I think it's just another way to crucify Christ and put him in the back seat. And we've figured out lots and lots of ways to do that. Denominationalism is just red dragons fighting other red dragons, pretending they're the best and the most original, and they're all under a delusion and they're all doing it wrong. There's no denominations in the Bible. There's not supposed to be. It's sin. It's schools of opinion, which are the acts of the sinful nature, and it says they will not inherit the kingdom of heaven if you are a part of a school of opinion. Heresies is called in Galatians chapter 6, I believe it is. If it's not, I'll put a correction here. Anyway, God bless you all. Whether you agree with me or not, whether you believe what I'm saying or not, I pray you'd find truth with a capital T. It's rare and it's valuable, and you need to hold on to it when you find it. And truth is not being anti-something. Truth is finding out what you're for and getting about it. Thanks for listening. Please visit our website, fellowshipofthemartyrs.com. And see, if you would like to support us, you can PayPal to FOTM at fellowshipofthemartyrs.com or patreon.com/FOTM1. Our YouTube is FOTM1. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us wherever. Thanks very much for listening. In the name of Jesus, amen.